In all honesty, Goldie Hawn detested him more than anyone else. Her birth name was Goldie Jean Hawn, and she was born on the 21st of November 1945, at the nation's capital. Growing up in a middle-class family, Hawn was exposed to the arts from an early age, which nurtured her natural ability to light up whatever space she entered. Her father, a band leader, and her mother, a jewelry shop owner, encouraged creativity and individuality, shaping the foundation for Hawn's unique blend of charisma and humorous timing. Her early years were marked by the manifestation of an instinctive sense of humor and an infectious energy, both of which would go on to become her defining characteristics throughout her professional life. In the late 1960s, Hawn initially came to popularity as a cast member on the innovative sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Logan. This was the beginning of Hawn's successful career. The combination of her brilliant grin, sparkling eyes, and great comic timing catapulted her to the forefront of the entertainment industry, winning the affection of millions of viewers all over the United States. She was able to create a type of humor that mixed innocence and wit while she was on the show. She frequently portrayed characters that were eccentric, funny, and charming, and the audience could not help but enjoy them with their hearts. It was through this platform that she was catapulted into Hollywood stardom, which in turn opened the doors to a fruitful film career that would later span decades. Goldie Hawn has a great versatility that is possessed by only a few number of actresses. She was able to transform from television to film without any difficulty. She was able to drive audiences to both laughter and tears with her performances in comedy and dramatic parts, which garnered her critical recognition. Her performances were praised for their ability to move audiences. In films such as Cactus Flower, for which she was awarded the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, as well as in legendary comedies such as Private Benjamin, Overboard, and The First Wives Club, she established a reputation for being a formidable performer who was able to dominate the screen with both comedy and emotion. In addition to the honors and prizes she received, Hawn's performances struck a chord with audiences because she gave genuineness, sincerity, and empathy to each and every role she played. The previously unstoppable career momentum of Goldie Hawn had an unexpected and unpleasant pause when two of her highly anticipated movies, The Out-Off-Towners and Town and Country, failed to do well at the box office. For an actress who had spent decades dazzling audiences with her sparkling comedic timing and irresistible charisma, the double disappointment seemed like a sharp shift in a business that could be both adoring and cruel. It wasn't just the films themselves that were negatively impacted by the commercial disasters. They caused Hawn's career trajectory, which was normally bright and shining, to be presented in a negative light, which ultimately led to her withdrawing from the limelight in Hollywood. Her 2002 film The Banger Sisters, in which she starred opposite Susan Sarandon, became her final screen performance for more than 15 years. To fans who had grown up watching her sparkle on screen, the hush that followed was both unexpected and deeply felt, as though an age of light-hearted, effervescent Hollywood magic had suddenly vanished. When Goldie Hawn triumphantly reappeared from her self-imposed hiatus in 2017, she astonished audiences and delighted longtime supporters. Her triumphant return to the music industry was a tremendous success. Snatched is an action comedy that she starred in after taking a break from film sets, cameras, and the relentless pace of Hollywood for a decade and a half. She returned with amazing energy and humor to play the lead role in the film. Hawn seamlessly transitioned back into the rhythm of humorous narrative when she took on the part of Amy Schumer's overprotective mother. In doing so, she reminded audiences of the reasons why she had been adored for such a long time. It was not simply another movie release when she made her reappearance. It was a joyful moment, a reminder that even after years of silent retreat, true stars never lose their brilliance. In addition to her professional accomplishments, Goldie Hawn has been held in high esteem for a long time due to the philanthropic work she has done and her dedication to causes that benefit humanity. In addition to highlighting the significance of emotional intelligence and mental health, she was one of the co-founders of the Hawn Foundation, which is an organization that is committed to implementing mindfulness and well-being programs for children. Because of her advocacy, she has motivated a great number of people to place compassion, personal development, and resiliency at the forefront of their lives, which has allowed her influence to transcend well beyond the realm of the entertainment business. Since the beginning of her career, Goldie Hawn's love life has been considered one of the most fascinating stories in Hollywood. It is characterized by passion, heartbreak, resilience, and eventually unwavering loyalty. Over the course of her life, Hawn has been involved in a number of relationships that have not only played a significant role in shaping her personal journey, but have also played a role in shaping the woman and artist that the world has grown to appreciate. There are dazzling highs, agonizing lows, startling twists, and a conclusion that feels almost like it was taken straight from a fairy tale. Her romantic timeline reads almost like a Hollywood script. The beginning of her first significant chapter occurred in May of 1969, when she tied the knot with Gus Draconis, a dancer who later became a director, in a small and intimate ceremony in Honolulu, Hawaii. During that period of time, Hawn was a rising star who was brimming with enthusiasm and excitement about her future horizons. Considering that Draconis was also a talented performer, it appeared as though they were a natural match. He was a fellow artist who understood the rhythms of her creative life. But despite their early promise, the marriage slowly unraveled. By April 1973, the couple had discreetly separated, and although they tried to keep things amicable, it was evident their paths were moving in different directions. 1975 marked the year that their divorce was finalized, therefore bringing an end to the initial phase of her romantic life. Following the conclusion of her relationship with Draconis, Hawn discovered that she was swept up in a whirlwind of new connections. A number of guys, such as the Swedish singer and actor Bruno Winell, the charismatic Italian star Franco Nero, and the stuntman Ted Grossman, were among the romantic partners she had in the past. Each relationship mirrored a different stage of her life, one defined by exploration, emotional growth, and a deeper awareness of what she truly wanted in a companion. At some point in time, she became engaged to the musician Bill Hudson, who is a member of the well-known Hudson Brothers. During the month of July in 1976, they tied the knot, and their union swiftly developed into a marvelous family. The first child was a son named Oliver, and the second child was a daughter named Kate, who would go on to become one of the most adored actresses in Hollywood. The fissures in their marriage began to appear, despite the fact that they were experiencing the joy of becoming parents. In August of 1980, their partnership broke down as a result of the pressures of celebrity, the demands of their careers, and the contrasts in their personal lives. Hawn, however, continued to act in accordance with her heart. The French performer Yves Renier, the television superstar Tom Selleck, and the Moroccan millionaire Victor Dry were all the subjects of love speculation around her. With each new connection, her diverse life narrative was enriched with still another dimension. However, all changed on Valentine's Day in 1983, when she started a romance with actor Kurt Russell. This was an unexpected pairing that would go on to become one of the most enduring love tales in Hollywood. Not only was their chemistry instantaneous and electric, but it was also undeniably genuine. Over the course of their lives, they have created a blended family that is characterized by love, humor, and mutual respect. In 1986, they decided to welcome their son, Wyatt. In the year 2018, the pair celebrated an astounding 35 years of being together, a milestone that very few Hollywood relationships ever get to accomplish. Their bond remains a brilliant example of dedication and partnership, illustrating that lifelong love doesn't always require a wedding band. In addition to her romantic life, Hawn has committed her heart to something even more significant, which is creating a change that is relevant in the worldwide community. She established the Hawn Foundation in 2003, which is an organization that is committed to promoting youth education by offering programs that improve children's academic achievement, promote their emotional well-being, and assist them in thriving in a world that is becoming increasingly complex. She has a deep and sensitive side that is frequently hidden under the glamour, and her enthusiasm for mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and nurturing the next generation is a reflection of that side. When asked about her early experiences on set, the bubbly personality Goldie Hawn, who is famous for her bright grin, contagious laugh, and magnetic screen presence, did not hold back when she spoke about her early encounters. In her open and frequently hilarious manner, Hawn acknowledged, "I truly hated him more than anyone else." She was talking to her co-star buddy Ebsen. She was referring to him. In the eyes of the general public, Buddy Ebsen was the very definition of charisma and talent. He was a seasoned actor whose career spanned decades, beginning with musicals in the 1930s and culminating in his stardom on television in the Beverly Hillbillies. At the time, however, Horn regarded him as an impediment, a figure of intimidation, and someone who, according to her, made each and every scenario feel 10 times more difficult than it ought to have been to experience. This statement may startle those familiar with Hahn's characteristic friendliness. As a result of her parts in comedies and romantic flicks, she gained a reputation for being humorous and mischievous in a light-hearted manner. On the other hand, the truth that occurred behind the scenes during the filming of the one and only actual original Family Band in 1968 offered a totally different picture. At the time, Hahn was a young and relatively inexperienced actress who was making her debut on the big screen. She found herself negotiating not only the demands of a large studio production, but also the towering presence of Buddy Ebsen. She described him as overbearing, noisy, and impossibly exacting attributes that, in the view of a beginner, rendered even simple moments into high-stakes performances. According to Hahn's recollection, "I was just a kid, really. And he made it feel like every line I spoke was a test I was failing." When it comes to Hahn's early career, it is absolutely necessary to have a solid understanding of the backdrop. Prior to the release of this movie, she had established herself as a prominent performer on Rowan and Martin's Logan. Her comedic timing, physical humor, and expressive face had resulted in her becoming a household name almost immediately. The move from television to film, on the other hand, was not a smooth one. When she was on Logan, she sort of served as her own boss. The sketches she created gave her the opportunity to experiment and play freely. On the other hand, she experienced feelings of confinement, scrutiny, and according to her own recollections, a complete and utter lack of superiority when she was working on a movie set that was highly regimented and under intense pressure with Buddy Ebsen. As a result of the friction that occurred between a young starlet and an experienced actor, an explosive mixture of resentment, anxiety, and eventually reluctance developed between the two parties. The fact that Goldie Hawn referred to Ebsen as the person she detested more than anybody else is another example of the distinctive relationship between mentorship and competition that exists in the Hollywood industry. Throughout his many years of experience, Ebsen was known to take his trade with a great deal of seriousness. Hawn, who was still establishing her footing, frequently received the impression that he was too critical or contemptuous of her, despite the fact that his motives may have been rooted in professional standards. She remarked, "He didn't mean to be cruel. I am aware of that now. But at the time, every scowl and every correction felt like it was directed at me personally. It felt like he was determined to make me miserable." In a sense, this early disagreement represents a recurring issue in Hollywood. The friction that can encourage a young performer to grow even as it intimidates and frustrates them is also known as the tension that exists between established authority and burgeoning talent. In spite of these obstacles, Hahn's career reached a turning point when he joined the one and only real original Family Band. During the time that she was filming, she may have had strong negative thoughts toward Ebsen, but she was also aware of the potential that the project afforded. "Yes, I did in fact despise him," she said. "The experience, however, taught me more than any acting lesson could have ever taught me. I was able to discover how to stand on my own, how to endure, and eventually how to shine." In hindsight, Hahn's first appearance on cinema was a baptism by fire. It was a setting that put her to the test, helped her sharpen her instincts, and prepared her for the succession of legendary performances that would follow in the 1970s, beginning with Cactus Flower and ending with Shampoo. When seen in the context of her life and career as a whole, Hahn's open disclosure regarding Buddy Ebsen serves as a reminder of the human side of Hollywood, including the fears, rivalries, and personal challenges that lie beneath the glittering exterior. She has never been shy about saying when someone or something has tested her deeply, and she has always been remarkably honest about her sentiments without ever being shy about doing so. A number of years later, she pondered on the fact that he was more than just a co-star. Something individual served as a mirror, reflecting back to me the extent to which I want something and the extent to which I was willing to battle for it. Despite the fact that her statements may convey a sense of hostility, they also convey a reality about the development of artistic talent. In many cases, the encounters that we find to be the most challenging, the individuals that we believe we cannot tolerate, are the ones that wind up influencing our path in the most significant ways. Goldie Hawn's relationship with Buddy Ebsen, as she recounted it, was not one of friendship or camaraderie. Her youthful mind was permanently altered as a result of the tense and complicated experience that she went through. On the other hand, rather than dampening her spirit, it seemed to bolster it, thus contributing to the development of the resiliency, humor, and poise that would come to define her professional life. Even decades later, she could laugh about it, acknowledging the mixture of fear, frustration, and respect that characterized those early days. She said with a smile that was growing wider, "I hated him more than anyone else. And yet somehow I learned to survive and even love this crazy business because of him." Hahn could look back on her first awkward experience with Buddy Ebsen with appreciation rather than resentment. By the time she became an Oscar-winning actress and one of the most beloved personalities in American film. This was the case when she had established herself as one of the most beloved figures in American film. She came to the realization that it was an important part of the narrative of her journey to fame, a narrative that was not solely defined by her talent, charm, or luck, but rather by the struggle that put her to the test in ways that very few viewers would ever witness. Despite the fact that Goldie Hawn is a superb dancer, she began her career in the entertainment industry as a professional dancer before making the shift to acting. Goldie Hawn is the creator of the Hawn Foundation, which is an organization that works to improve the social and emotional well-being of children, as well as practice mindfulness in educational settings.